Our only hope is to successfully develop a vaccine as soon as possible. Immunologists believe that for a successful development of a vaccine, Th17 white blood cells must be stimulated in the body. Therefore, when we have Th17, it's like we have a vaccine. Let's spend the time here for you to explain to us, as at this moment the only hope is for us to have a vaccine soonest. Immunologists now believe that the vaccine is effective in preventing infection by stimulating in the body Th17, which is an immune white blood cell, for the reasons that the Th17 white blood cell secretes interleukin 17 and interleukin 22. The two substances secreted by Th17 increase the immunity at the epithelial mucosal barrier cells to stop the disease from passing through in all parts of our body, in the eyes, nasal cavity, respiratory tract, oral cavity, digestive tract, reproductive and excretory tract. There is the mucosal barrier that divides the inside of the body from the outside. If at the mucosal barrier we can prevent the virus from passing through, we have a viral prevention. Don't you think so? It cannot pass through the respiratory tract, through the eyes or the digestive tract. If we increase the immunity at the mucosal barrier in these areas, how do we do it? If there is a virus, which is what we are talking about at present, that gets into our respiratory tract, it cannot pass through the mucosal barrier of our respiratory tract, thanks to the prevention by interleukin 17 and interleukin 22, which are secreted by Th17. The virus gets in here. From the illustration, the virus tries to get in, but instead it's killed right there. It cannot go further down. It's nowhere near the lungs, because the body has created a lot of killer cells in this area and created a peptide which is toxic to the virus. Thus the virus will die here. Whether it is the mucosal barrier in the eye, nasal cavity, oral cavity, digestive tract, respiratory tract, reproductive tract, since the mucosal barrier in all the areas of our body can protect us, we can prevent the infection. But if some viruses do get through the barrier, after getting into the body, a virus cannot exist by itself. It has to find a cell in the body to embed itself and then replicate into a large number within that cell. The virus will leave the infected cell. The purple one is an infected cell, and the viruses are leaving the cell to enter other cells and infect them. The spreading of the infection will continue, and if it becomes very widespread, we then have a severe infection. So we have to prevent it before it gets severe. The way to do it is to stimulate the Th17 white blood cell, which in turn will stimulate the killer T cell, seen here in pink. The killer T cell will then attach itself with the infected cell, since it is guided by the antigen, and then inject into the infected cell the protein lysine granzyme, which works to disintegrate protein. Since cells and viruses are protein, so both the infected cells and viruses are disintegrated together. This method can prevent all strains of viruses. Yes, all strains of viruses. This is the way to prevent the infection from becoming severe. What about if there is a lot of infected cells? Well, you simply use more Th17. But the best way is immediately in the early stage, we get Th17 in our body to eliminate the virus. I want to point out that the Th17 cells that are stimulated are proven by immunologists that they are stem cell-like, since cells are cells that are highly stable, which means they live long and can self-proliferate. Just imagine we can stimulate Th17 cells in our body, and then they live long and self-proliferate, so the quantity builds up. This is the property of Th17 white blood cell. In addition, there is evidence that Th17 is a memory T cell. Its role is to create a memory, to record that it has once built an immunity to eliminate a virus. And therefore, when that particular virus returns, the memorized immunity of the body will be stimulated and then works immediately to eliminate it. For these reasons, Th17 is acting like a vaccine. The Th17 white blood cell vaccine will 1. Prevent the viruses from passing through the mucosal barrier into the body. 2. But if the viruses do get through, they will be disintegrated together with the infected cells, and thus the virus spread in the body is prevented. This is the benefit of Th17 white blood cell. Therefore, what humanity is trying to achieve at the moment is the development of a vaccine by targeting the building of Th17 in our body. Clinical trials in volunteers have been conducted at the Biomedical Technology Research Center at Chiang Mai University in a joint public-private research endorsed by the National Science and Technology Development Agency. The research concluded clearly that our innovation can stimulate Th17 several hundreds%. It increases day by day. The more you take our innovated capsules, the better you see the results. We could see the impact of this innovation at Ban Geda orphanage that houses HIV-infected children with usually low immunity. These children have HIV in their bodies. Yes, and thus they have low immunity. They suffer from a cold or the flu several times a year. We provided them with 4 to 6 of our innovated capsules a day, and after that they did not catch the flu for the whole year. As the flu is caused by a virus, so this means they were no longer infected by any virus. Those HIV-infected individuals usually will have deficient immunity and will easily catch the flu. But after using the innovation, no flu for the whole year? Correct, and we saw the same results with the general consumers of our innovation, who consumed 2 to 9 capsules a day. Many more catch the flu less often, and many more don't catch the flu all year round. This proves that they were better immune to viruses, helping to prevent them from catching the flu. And when there was the outbreak of virus in China, we had the opportunity to send our innovations for use by the medical personnel in Kunming through the Kunming Public Health, 140 of them in total. Another group is the medical personnel in Foshan in Guangdong province, the one you see in the picture. These people went to Wuhan. These medical workers are now back and are satisfied that they remain healthy. None suffered any problems. Your innovation was sent to the medical personnel in Wuhan. This group went to perform their duty in Wuhan. It is clearly seen that the innovation had helped the doctors and nurses to increase their immunity. They now suggest that our innovation should be given to public officials over the retirement age of 55 years to build up their immunity and keep them in good health.